Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk about flight paths and Draenor. Because ever since Blizzard said, look, you're not getting flying license until the first major patch, people went batshit crazy. I never really understood this, but they just went, holy shit, I don't want to do this. I don't want to run on this mount, this ground mount that I've spent a year farming. I don't want to use this mount. I want to use this mount, the very basic wyvern, the very basic flying mount. I would just want to fly up into the air so nothing is in my way. I just want to point myself towards a direction and press the auto run key. And then pick my nose or masturbate or do both. I have two hands, right? So I never really understood this because some of the ground mounts are beautiful, Anzu? Yeah, hell yeah. Or the Mushan mounts, You finish Brawlers Guild, you get this Mushan mount. It's a mark of success. You reached rank 10 in Brawlers Guild. But there is no point in using this mount, is there? Maybe in, Siege of Nuzao Temple? Maybe? But outside of instances, there is no point in using this mount. So you just achieved rank 10 in Brawlers Guild, and the only reward you get is useless because it's not a flying mount. Plus they said that yes, all the flying mounts will have ground mount function as well. So if you have this beautiful flying mount, for instance from challenge modes, the flying mount doesn't have animation for running, for ground transportation, so they will somehow do it so you can use the flying mounts on ground. They will look good and they won't look retarded. So as the first thing, you can finally use all your mounts, not just flying mounts. Anzu, that's a beautiful mount. Or from Baron, I don't know what his name is, in Stratum. You spend months, maybe years farming these mounts, and there is no point in using them other than flexing in front of Ogrimmar. And one thing we are gonna get to compensate for this is flight paths. Now, as Bashiok says, we're going to be making sure flight paths and other forms of travel are quick and efficient, with a goal of getting you to the place you want to go. Flight paths in the past have always been the scenic route, lazily listing from side to side around waterfalls to the intended oohs and ahs of the transportee. The flight paths in Draenor are not going to be loop-de-loop sightseeing tours. We're going to be looking to our beta testers to let us know if any are less than tip-top. Now yes, that is true. Especially in Vanilla's, flight paths weren't really that efficient. Okay, if you want to go from the top of the continent to the bottom of the continent, yes, because you can click a button, pay a buttload of gold, and go away. Alt tap or do something else. But they were really long and inefficient because, as Bashiok said, they always took the scenic route. So if you have a zone, and that zone has something really cool, like a good-looking waterfall, even though the flight path is miles away from that waterfall, the flight path would go around that waterfall because they wanted you to see the world, to experience the beauty. And if a zone had something cool in it, chances are that you're gonna fly around that if you're flying somewhere, or if you're flying, if you're arriving from somewhere. So the flight paths were very long. The second reason why the flight paths took the scenic route is because in vanilla people couldn't fly. So a lot of the scenery, like mountains and stuff, on top, they were usually grey. The actual terrain wasn't finished because you can't fly. So if you can't see it from the ground, chances are that it's just a cardboard scenery, like Undercity, for instance. Undercity had a lot of cardboard scenery. If you were to fly above Undercity in vanilla, you would just see an unfinished blob of grey nothing, basically. So they couldn't fly above Undercity. So if you're flying somewhere and Undercity is on your way, you have to fly around Undercity, or you have to fly into Undercity and then from Undercity somewhere else, because the back of Undercity isn't complete. You can't get there, from ground. You can't just run there. So there is no point in modeling that. And that's what they did. And there was a bunch of this stuff. Basically, if you can't get there on foot, it wasn't complete. Okay, so thanks to stuff like that, we had these very scenic routes. And as I've said before, the simple fact that the developers just wanted you to see these amazing things they have created. They just made you took the scenic path. Now in Draenor, first of all, we will have much faster flight paths, which is good. But you also have to think about it this way. People say that they can't really imagine going around Pandaria on a ground mount. Well, that's because Pandaria wasn't designed without flying mounts. Draenor will be designed to be basically traversed with just a ground mount. You know, they know that people won't have flying mounts, so there is no point in them just putting floating islands everywhere where you have to go to finish a quest. That's not gonna happen. The zones are designed with a ground mount in mind, so you can go everywhere using just a ground mount. It's as simple as that. And if it's really far away, if you've been there already, you can just use a flight path. It's as simple as that. It's not gonna be obnoxious. It's actually gonna be fairly awesome. Very awesome indeed. And one of the most common arguments people say, or people have, I should say, is, if I've been there, why can't I just fly there? You can do that with a flight path. So many people are in this mindset that if they already been there, they should be able or should be allowed to fly there. That's what flight paths do. Okay, so just stop it. It's gonna be amazing, trust me. You will encounter other players again, because Pandaria feels very empty. Very empty. But the zones aren't empty. People are just in the air. You can't see them. And that's the problem. You know, there is no PvP going on. There is no sense of actual danger in Pandaria. Because when you don't have flight paths and you have to run everywhere on foot, there are mobs there. You'll probably stick to the road because you don't want to aggro other mobs, and other players will do the same thing, and this is how you encounter other players. It's as simple as that. You know, people, players, the things we are scared of, you know, massively multiplayer online.